fascination that institutions like yours continue to exist today. Right? 2015, in one of the most important cities on earth, in London, is remarkable. But what I find so heartening is, never mind the Englishman in New York, you're the Englishman in LA.
I know.
Right?
Well,
and being incredibly successful at it.
Well, it's an interesting place because people always say to me, do people buy a lot of handmade shoes in Los Angeles and California really generally? And they do. It's now become really our second biggest market in the world, along even with places like Texas. And the American client has always appreciated craftsmanship. And we're really one of the few. I mean, people always ask me who are your competitors and who would you point towards. And I always say it's really tough because we're probably the last actually independently family-owned business that really is still operating today the same way we were 50 years ago. And the most common question people always ask me is, what's your 5-year plan, your 10-year plan? Because you always hear it with all these other big brands. And I said, if we can have the next 5 like the last 5 with, dealing with some of the most fabulous people in the world and people like yourself that really genuinely care about the product and they don't want to see the shoe everywhere, we'd be very happy. We'd be very content.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is that you guys have gone, I suppose historically, you never only had English nobility, you had continental nobility as well, right. But you also had your movie stars and your stage stars, right?
Yeah, well, this is always an interesting thing because I always think we made for some of the most iconic, stylish individuals we probably could have. The Humphrey Bogarts, the Cary Grants, the Fred Astaires. I mean, these to me are people really that set trends. And what's really more impressive back then, this is before internet and media and what have you, that they found cleverly.
Yeah.
That's really what I find impressive. And people say word of mouth. They said, well, word of mouth travelled that far? And I said, yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Because today we obviously do for a lot of Hollywood's elite, but it's easier for them to find out about us now because there's only a handful of companies in the world making the sort of product we are, and we find very special. Yeah. We've always had a strong connection to movie stars in Hollywood.
What's fascinating is that it's not just the English stars that are out in LA, right? Who appreciate the product that you guys create, but it's some of these iconic American muscle men, almost like individuals that I suppose many people would never associate, with a bespoke, made shoe, English brand, because they're all so American, pure, brawl, and yet these guys are wearing the shoe as well. So,
well, I'll tell you a funny story about that. Is obviously Jason Statham's a good client of ours and what have you, and he's always been a very dapper chap. And last summer, I said to him, if any of your character or your friends are interested, and he said, George, they love clothes, they'd love to come in. So I was in the office one Saturday, and they come upstairs and they said, George, we've got Harrison Ford and Sylvester Stallone downstairs being measured for shoes. And they found it so interesting to come up to the workshop and see actually how the product was made, and even his daughters were there, and they just found it so unique. And he said, what I love about this, he said, is you could tell that the age in this business, and it hasn't changed.
Yeah.
And he said, and please never change. Don't move anywhere else. Stay in this little area. And whilst we have a small store, we think it's quite beautiful with the workshop above and the last room above that.
Fantastic.